always felt like this was going to be something wholly unique for both of us. When we reached that part where we knew we were taking it to be a little more sci-fi, um, where it's actually the story has a huge scope to it. Even in planetary terms, it's a huge scope. When we got to the point where we had to have discussions about that, and it started getting a little weird for both of us, and it required a bit of research, it required a bit more complex thinking, because we weren't exactly doing world building, but we had to have hints of a backstory that
Right.
explained some things. Um, that was when, like, we really knew we were doing something that we would probably never do again, go that way. And I'm happy for the both of us that we took it in stride. You know, we didn't fight it. We were like, this is how it's going to go. Okay, we're going to do it.
Yeah, because it could have been a very different book if you guys didn't have the courage to pursue that a little bit, and I think it would have suffered as a book had you not done that. It's interesting that you mentioned the world building and sort of, I guess, the implied mythology that's kind of behind it. There is a temptation, especially when you get into science and science fantasy, to explain a lot and to give as much of that, research detail and stuff like that. And again, I don't know how much of the actual mythology you figured out that you didn't include, but how did you guys go about figuring out the best balance to sort of to hint at the bigger things without it becoming sort of a dialogue on a different dimension kind of thing?
We didn't want this work to become, we had a word count in mind. Like Wes had a much shorter word count in mind, and we had to sit and have a talk where it was like, no, 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 we have to get to at least 30,000. We can't make it that short. Um, but we had the word count in mind, and that was what sort of drove us to be a little more stingy with details. And I, as a writer, am a fan of being stingy with details anyway, because I think when you put a lot of time in over explaining things, no matter what you do, to different readers, it's going to look different. It's going to sound different. It's through their own personal experience. If you're stingy with details, you're giving them more freedom to make their own story, and all you're doing is guiding them. And I think that's a good idea to do things like that, because if you're over explaining, all you're doing is wasting everybody's time.